So here we are with our photograph of the still life that you're going to draw, and I added some value scales on either side so we can get an idea of the values that we're looking at. So we're going to plot this out. So we're going to start with the leftmost bottle, and it comes to about here on the side. This is the lowest. These two are pretty much even, and that is almost half of that bottle. So that comes to here, about here, and this would end here. And it would come to about here. So these, we're going to go over the shapes and finalize the shapes. And this is just an absolutely rough sketch just to get things in. So that's round, and it has a foot. And then we have the teapot. The teapot arm comes to just a hair above that bottle, and then the top is a little bit above that. So the arm comes to about there, and teapot itself, there's a little bit of a space here, a little space. The arm, pot, so I'm going to say the top is about here. It's wider at the top than it is at the bottom. And it goes kind of like that. The teapot is very geometric, has very sharp corners. And the spout is almost to the middle of it. And the bottom of the paneled part is just above the middle, maybe a third, 2/3 up from the bottom. So 2/3, so it comes about here. And then there's this banded part, and then the bottom of the teapot. So the bottom of the teapot comes to maybe a quarter up from the foot of this bottle, so about here. So that's the bottom of that. So now this big tall bottle goes behind, and the teapot top comes to just above the curve here. Curves into the teapot. Goes about to here. And then down at the bottom of that bottle, oh, we also have a pedestal, so it ends just about with the teapot, so about here, and then there's a little pedestal under it. So make sure this is straight. And we don't see all of this. We're going to cover it with that. So that part, this little basket, if you will, is a circle, but it's not a complete circle, because if it were a complete circle, we wouldn't see this side of it. So it's a little bit more of an ellipse. And then we can see how it goes back here. And again, we're going to go over the details of this. We just want to get basics. And then we have grapes and shells. So then we have this pedestal here. And the pedestal comes maybe just under halfway up. Well, maybe it comes up a third from the bottle, so maybe here. It's an ellipse. Bottom, again, we're going to do the details later. So then the bottom of this pedestal comes just about to the top of this bottle, this basket, so just about there, and it's where it's not smooth. Again, we will do the details later. And then the bottom of it is about in the middle of there, maybe a little higher than the middle. So the middle is here, so it's actually not as big as I have it. And then we have the teapot, which is wider at the bottom, slightly wider at the bottom than it is at the top, and it's rounded bottom, and then it has almost a heart-shaped handle, and then the spout, which goes higher and is skinnier at the bottom. Handle up here. Okay, so again, details later. So now we have this side. We have Aunt Jemima, who is slightly taller than the spout. So the spout comes about to her neck. So she's about here. And then this bottle is higher than that, so it's about here, because it's just a little bit lower than this one. And then, okay, so let's get her in. So her arms come up to the middle of the teapot, so I have her arms too. And then her skirt is just cut off by the pedestal, so I have to bring my pedestal out a little bit. And it comes down to the side of the pedestal. There's just a little bit of space there. And then on this side, it gets cut off. So I'll stop right there. So then we have this bottle here, which is pretty tall and thin. It's not as wide as those two are. And it starts maybe in the middle of this circle. So it starts about here, rounded, and it just is slightly in front of Aunt Jemima. So slightly in front of. So this is wider, and then it gets skinnier. It's kind of round, but not really. And it starts getting straight just about Aunt Jemima's shoulders. So here. And feel free to rotate your paper if you need to. Using the rotation of your wrist, it's much easier to rotate your paper and use the rotation of your wrist to make rounded edges rather than trying to draw it like this. Okay. Okay, so I think this is even wider. Alright, I like that side. Again, details later. So this is going to go up. Make sure that it's straight, so I can't use that mark. Bring it over here a little bit. So it looks like it has a cork in it. Details later. Not even. Okay, so I think this needs to be even wider here.
Tavion Ross, your ride is here. Please go to the flagpole. Tavion Ross. Thank you.
Alright, I like this side, so now I have to match that side. So, and this is not straight. When I turn it upside down, I can see that it's not straight. So. So on the top of that comes to about details later. It's good enough for now. So then this handle comes off. It's sort of a long oval. It almost looks like an ear. So it comes from here. To there, and then just add these. And then this last vase has a twist to it. So it's rounded and tall and thin, just on the edge of this bottle, almost touching it right there. And it comes below. So it comes to about here. Very thin. And comes to just about here. And I don't think this is straight. If I just look at the edge of my paper, if I line that up in the middle, actually it's not bad. So it gets a little bit wider. And then it has these swirlies on. Again, details later, so I won't worry about that right now. Now, I still have to do the bottle and this candle holder. So the candle holder comes right up the left third of this bottle. And it's pretty even with this bottle. So it goes about here. An ellipse. And it's pretty straight, and it comes up to Aunt Jemima's hip. So it comes to about here. So it's an ellipse here. And then it gets skinnier. And it goes all the way down, and I can see that this is in the wrong place. Oh, actually it's not. It's not straight though. Alright, so good for now. Now we gotta get this bottle in, this last bottle. So it goes from almost the middle of Aunt Jemima. The rounded part ends almost where this bottle is, and this rounded part is almost even with that. So it goes to the middle. It cuts off just the teeny tip of that pedestal. And the rounded part is just below the pedestal. And then it goes straight, and it has has a little negative space there. So I'm using a little bit more. And all right, so that is the very, very basic plotting out. So now I need to go back and round things out and put in the details, etc. But at least this is planned out. I know everything's going to fit, and I can go from there.